The Gallagher Shots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel and podcast. And we are back. It is a match reaction. It is Tuesday afternoon. It is,
Yeah.
and it's the day after the night before, as Newcastle United fall victim to a last-minute goal at the hands of Liverpool, and everybody leaves St James's Park deflated but proud. I'm your host today, Chris, joined by Matty and Degger. I'm going to start with you, Matty, because me and Degger did a pre-game show yesterday, so we got a lot of our opinions out there before the game. I don't think any of our opinions have changed since then in regards to the build-up of the match and things like that and what was going on there and then. But I wanted to hear your opinion. So before we start talking about the result and what happened during the game, Matty, were you nervous going into that game? Because me and Degger mentioned the fact that it felt different. It's the opening game of the season in regards to a home fixture for us. So the first home game since the start of the new season. And it just felt different. There was something about that fixture which it was standing out immediately after the whole saga which has gone on throughout the summer.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. That's why it felt different. Don't get me wrong. I think Liverpool versus Newcastle, especially at St James's Park's always carried some sort of weight. I mean, there's obviously the history at Anfield in the 90s as well. It's always seems to be a very, very entertaining fixture and not without, events that are worth discussing and all that. But yeah, with the circus leading up to it and all the sort of little storylines going in over a particular centre forward, they just felt like it wasn't a cup final, but it just felt like it had that extra bite to it. You could sense in the city the sort of anticipation bubbling up as well. Like days before, I just felt like that atmosphere, what was before the game, during the game, and even more so after when we clapped them off, like it wasn't a surprise because it just felt like it really carried some weight. So yeah, it did feel different, and I did to a degree. It didn't worry me. I think Liverpool home and away is always going to be one of your toughest fixtures. If you can get anything from it, you're happy. However, just because the last time we played them was, a very good performance in a cup final, albeit again with a centre forward instead of Anthony Gordon. I didn't have confidence, but I thought we can give them a go. And I hadn't seen anything in their previous two games, including the Palace Charity Shield game, that really particularly had worried me to an extent of we are going to get run over here. So yeah, I wasn't worried. Obviously, we'll get on to what unfolded in the game because there were certainly points in the game where I was very much worried we were going to get run over. That didn't come to pass. So that's where the pride comes from. But unfortunately, it didn't end with a positive result, which we deserved.
We've always said, Dagger, that the first 10 minutes of a fixture that Newcastle go into, you can tell what sort of Newcastle side are going to turn up. And I think before kickoff, the build-up to the game itself, and when everybody was inside St James's Park, the noise being generated was unbelievable. Probably the loudest I've ever heard there, Dagger. And when the announcer was reading Liverpool's team out, you couldn't even hear the announcer where I was because it was just boos all across the stadium, which once again it is because of everything which has happened throughout the summer. But I thought, right, if this atmosphere can stay like this throughout the game, then we've done our job. We're giving our lads that extra bit of a push. And just to go back, like I said, the first 10 minutes of the game, you find out what Newcastle United side is going to turn up. And that first 10 minutes, that first opening moments, you could see we were ready for this. The lads were well up for it.
Oh, I mean, it was, you're right, it was one of the best atmospheres that I've been to. It was red hot. It was exactly what I expected. In the very first minute, I think Burn won a header against Ekitike. Almost the first 10 seconds of the game, it was just a ball was just chucked forward and Burn won that. And the lads were unbelievably up for it. You kind of fault them. Well, I'm going to fault them a bit later, but you kind of fault them really. I think I was a little bit annoyed. I thought Liverpool, for all the better side, right, we were from the off. I thought Liverpool did well at slowing the game down. They were wasting time at every opportunity. Little niggly fouls here and there. They were taking the time for them. Even like throw-ins or whatever, they were taking ages to go and get the ball. And I get it, right? I get it. They're trying to quiet us down. I understand why they're doing it, right? I'm not having a go there at all. But I thought, I mean, and I'm not trying to be funny here. I had a few arguments on X today with some Liverpool fans, but I mean, other than Ekatiké's goal, I didn't even know they were there. Like, that's the truth. Like, and I was sitting next to them, and I swear to you, every section of our stadium yesterday, apart from theirs, was singing. Now, normally you might find sometimes it's the Gallagher corner that's given it 10 out. Sometimes it might be the leaders, but I felt it was the entire stadium yesterday was as one, just giving it everything we had. Couldn't ask any better in terms of an atmosphere, really. My voice is still gone, you can probably tell. That sounds very rough.
I think, Matty, as that game was panned out, you were getting more and more confident as the game went on, because it was just us, like just going at it constantly, and it wasn't necessarily like sort of counter-attacking football or anything like that. We controlled that game. In regards to us getting the ball up the field, like I said, is correct. Liverpool were trying their hardest to slow things down, and I think Bruno mentioned that in one of his post-match interviews as well, where he mentions Liverpool made it very hard for us, and like I just said, they were slowing everything down. It was coming at throw-ins, and Jesus Christ, they were taking a lifetime to make throw-ins, goal kicks, corners, whatever you want to say. And I thought our lads handled that really well, but then it just takes one moment in the 35th minute, and it's Liverpool's first shot at goal at this point. And to talk with you, Matty, because it was a tough one to swallow, wasn't it?
It really was, and I think it sort of was in itself a condensed sort of a review of what the game was going to be. Because then first 35 minutes we were amazing, we were absolutely amazing. I sort of looked at Liverpool, are a fantastic team. You've got to give them credit for what they did last season, the squad that they've assembled, the players that they've got. But there wasn't anyone standing out to me. They weren't stringing together any sort of attacking moves forward. We were keeping Salah quiet. We were keeping Ekatike quiet. I couldn't even remember Florian Wirtz doing anything. And that's not me, again, jabbing at him. He's going to end up being a brilliant signing for them. He's a very good player, but I just don't recall him doing anything really in the first half, or let alone the second. But again, it's just one opening. And whatever analogy you want to use, if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery, you make your own luck, all that stuff. He's just had a little scuffed shot, and it's just clipped. I think it was Dan Burn and one of the centre halves' feet. And it's just wrong-footed Nick Pope and settled in the bottom corner. Now again, it's not a great goal, and it just sort of felt like, oh, of course that's happened. Of course that's happened. Like we've for all we've huffed and puffed, we've got balls across the box. There's plenty of times where, again, I'm sure people would highlight that we didn't have an instinctive centre forward who would be occupying those spaces. But up until that point, I still think we were giving them enough trouble that, it felt like only one team was going to score the first goal, but that first goal was so important. And that's football. And again, it just came out of nowhere. And for me, I didn't think it swayed the game too much. I think the next 10 minutes and what followed, it was much more balanced. I think Liverpool nearly carved out an opening straight after.
Almost immediately after, yeah.
Straight after, I think Salah got down the right. But we were still giving as good as we were getting in that little spell. And then we gave a bit too much. A certain individual gave a bit too much than what we were getting. And I would say that was the turning point. But what's crazy is it wasn't. It kind of wasn't.
It felt like so you concede the goal, then it's just a stoppage time hits, isn't it? I believe it is that Gordon goes flying in. And so where I say I'm in the strawberry corner. So you lads would have probably seen a better view of this from where yous were. But we know how fast Anthony Gordon is. He's very, very fast. And when I saw him just chasing the ball down, I felt as if when he saw Van Dijk slow it down a little bit to the point where he's thought, I can catch you, and he's gone. He can't run any faster if he tried. And he's going for it at that point. And I think what he tries to do, I think Gordon tries to go and initially block him from being able to kick it out. But I think he gets it completely wrong. He completely mistimes that. And I said straight away when the referee said yellow card, I thought, from where I am, and I know it's a distance, I thought there was a lot of effort put into that challenge. I thought this might go the other way, especially when you saw the reaction of the Liverpool players. Van Dijk getting up and down like he's doing some sort of party game. He's up and down God knows how many times. Musical bumps he was playing at one point. Then he sits back down, and that's when obviously VAR steps in. And the referee, as soon as he goes over to the monitor, you know exactly what's coming.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned on the pre-game show that we did, Chris, that we need to, by all means, get into them, get stuck in, be ferocious.
Control the aggression, I think you said.
We have to control the aggression. And I was always worried, not that I expected it to be Gordon, but I thought it might be Joe Linton or Bruno, that maybe the atmosphere and the occasion might just make them, be a bit over the top on a challenge. Now, I will be honest, I actually stood up and was applauding, shouting get in when he did what he did. Having said that, when I've seen the replay back, even though I was kind of bang in line with it, I was a bit high, don't get us wrong, but I was in line with it. It just looked like you see it 100 times in a game where like a defender goes to try and clear the ball and he gets cleared. It's 100 times. However, when you see the replay, listen, it's a red card. I'm not sitting here and saying it's not. It is absolutely a red card. It looked like
what was the atmosphere like in the concourse, Decker, at half time? Because from my point of view, in the Gallagher concourse, it's a mixture all the time, and you've got loads of people going, "It's a fucking red card! Like it's an absolute disgrace." And
yeah, well,
I'm like, "Oh, it's a red card!" Like
it was exactly what you've just said there. So I went to the toilet. First of all, it was really flat. Like it was really flat. Like everyone was just, everyone had the same feeling. And then there was a couple of lads come in and were like, Premier League, man, it's corrupt as fuck. And then this guy was standing having a piss and he went, yeah, mate, I've just seen it, like, it's really bad. And he went like, I hate Liverpool more than anyone, but that's a red card. Like, so then I happened to catch a glimpse of it on his phone, this guy. And I was like, it's, and then there was still a few people who were still saying, nah, man, soft as shite. And I was like, come on, lads, like, come on, like, it's a red card.
So it was funny as well because they showed just the one angle of it on the monitor above the Lee's stand, and everyone was like, that's not a foul, he's pulled out, because that's what it seems like to me as well. By the way, as much as I like Anthony Gordon, this is the second time he's done this, and I know he was trying to probably put a marker down, and his intentions were probably pure, as he said in his statement, and he's explained to Virgil van Dijk, I wasn't trying to really hurt you, I was just trying to get the energy going. But when he was aggressive against the fullback or the centre half for Brighton, he's went to sort of push him in the back and ended up missing him, hit him in the back of the head. And then with this, he went to block a ball because he's going so fast, he doesn't know what his legs are doing. And you can see the way he gets his body in a position. He's sort of sliding on his knees, but then lifts his foot. And yeah, we went to the concourse after seeing that one angle, and I was expecting to see it as controversy. Again, can't believe this referee's had a nightmare. And you could hear everyone talking, and then as soon as the first replay came up, they were like, it's not a red, it's not a red. Then they showed the actual angle where you can see he drag his calf
down,
and you just this crazy, this like proper anger just went to little murmurings to each other, like that's a red card, that's a red card. And then
Maddie, me and Decker were in the pub afterwards, and we're bumping into to Emma, Decker, don't we? And Emma at this point was still again, didn't even touch him, and one of the lads was stood with a photo of Van Dijk's calf ready to show him, because Decker, I think you said it looks like Wolverines had a go at him.
It really did. Do you know what I wanted to say though on that was, like, I was really impressed again with the press, right? And Gordon's the trigger of that. He's fabulous at that, right? But I did shout at the time, I just felt Elanga should have been the one that pressed Van Dijk, whereas then Gordon's had to sprint from one side of the field all the way to the other. And I was just a bit, I mean, you're asking miracles of him to constantly be sprinting like this all of the time.
But it was 3-4 pairs he goes after Decker, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because again, the crowd were cheering because we'll love to see that. I get it. And I just thought, what a stupid time to do it as well. Like, it's stoppage time. It's right at the end of the half. Like, yeah, it was just really frustrating. And Matty's made a good point there that, like, it kind of is the time when the game changed, but ironically, it kind of was for the better. But I can't even believe I don't know how to phrase that the right way. But
jump ahead, it's like, yeah, if we had 11 men on the pitch, we'd obviously have a much better chance to get a result. But the way we played for the most of the second half, barring the madness at the start, you would have thought we had 11 men. It was.
So I think the concourses would have been exactly the same around that ground, because when I went down at half time, like it just felt like a sucker punch. Like you go a goal down undeservedly. That Liverpool get that first goal. Then obviously Gordon goes and gets sent off, and you think, oh, you bastards, you were doing so well. And I'm not gonna lie, lads, I was in the concourse. I heard the players come back out for the second half, so I turned my shoulder, started walking back towards the pitch. And all I heard was the Liverpool fans, and I thought, "You fucking bastards!" Like I hadn't even saw the pitch. Then we're 2-0 down, and
neither had their manager, mate.
bastards.
I don't know if you've seen that, but Slot hadn't even got back. And he's
Or had he
like,
not?
Nah, he just come up the stairs and he went, "Oh, we scored again." And I just like, I just want to reference something on the first goal. I will apologise here because I haven't watched anything back because I just don't want to at the moment. Right, I can't really do it. But I feel like Trippier made a really bad throw. If I remember right, he seemed to have a throw in, and he threw it directly at a Liverpool player. And then it was a bit of a, I could be wrong. I'm sure it was that moment though, and there was
there was a moment in the game. I'm not sure if it was the leader of the game, but there was definitely a moment in the game where Trips had obviously a thrown from the right hand side, and he just it went over a Newcastle player's head and just was straight to a Liverpool player.
And I'm sure the goal came from around that. I'm not saying it was that on its own, but yeah, sorry. I mean, I don't know, Matty, did you see the second goal? I did. I was back in my seat well within time and obviously seeing it, and it was just. It's one of them, isn't it? Where you imagine how team talks like, right, lad, keep it tight first, and within 40 seconds you find yourself 2-0 down.
It was a good finish.
It was a great finish.
Definitely good finish, and he looked like the kid looks like he has that in him. Very similar. That's a similar-ish area to the one he scored against Palace in the Charity Field, and it was just you felt like we had a couple of opportunities to clear it though. Just put your foot through, put your foot through it, and he's just found that opening, and it's just a really good finish. And I can't put anything against Nick Pope. I don't think the keeper could have done any better. And yeah, but it was just, I was saying how annoyed I was that it felt like game over to me once Anthony Gordon gets sent off, because it's like, what we're supposed to do now? Because the deflation, there was no wind in our sails. So to go even lower, I remember someone telling to me and just going, now it's game over. And you just think, well, this could be, they're going to run us over here. And for all the stuff we did in the first half, it's going to count for nothing. But yeah, good goal. But like Decker says, when you're Eddie Howe there, you must be tearing your hair out. Like you must be wanting to go apoplectic because the first thing you just said is, let's just stick to this. Let's just build. Let's calm it down, and we'll find a way to try and carve out opportunities, which we did. But it did really is not going to help when.
Well, it didn't take long. I think it was only 10 minutes later that then we're back in the game. With Bruno with a nice little header at the back post, horribly defended, mind. What are some of the worst defending you'll ever see in your life? But Bruno's in the right place, the right time, and you don't see Bruno score many headers apart from that flying header that he did back a few seasons back. But I think that as soon as that went in and the noise of St. James's Park returns back to what it was like at the very start of the game, I think, right, we're up for this. You saw from Bruno's reaction as well. Him and Fabian Shaw get so caught up in the moment to try and grab the ball. Bruno gets the ball and throws it at some point as he's celebrating. Like it's carnage. Bruno doesn't know what to do. But I thought at that moment, we could get back into this. If we just control ourselves, don't get too excited, we can do it. But then we start getting injuries. And it's... I think we're going to have to touch on obviously, I'm not going to go through in certain minutes of the game and things like that, but we'll pick up a couple of injuries in this one, Decker. Some big concerns. So first of all, we're already missing a striker because he doesn't want to play for this football club. You've got Gordon, who's now going to be missing the next 3 games. Then you've got Tonali that goes off, who's running around with his arm and his shoulder. Like me, Matty said before we start recording this, he's running around like he's got his arm in a sling mid-game. At one point, he just will not drop. I think it was his left shoulder, was it? He just wouldn't drop it. Then you've got the injury to Joe Linton as well, which did not look good because a couple of players go straight over and signal to the bench straight away that he needs to get off the field.
Yeah,
it's a bitter pill to take, isn't it?
It is. It felt. I was saying that the person I was at the match with, I was saying like, we're probably going to lose here, but that's just. Listen, I know it was a huge game, and I've banged the drum a lot about this game, but it was the future games I was thinking of. Like, shit, we're going to not get anything from this game because of what's happened. But then, what on earth we're going to look like the weeks going forward? We're only in the second game here, and we're losing two of our midfield three that were all
Mm.
so, we love them so much. We know how good they are as a threesome.
It's the strongest
You know what
part of
It is.
the field that we have, yeah.
And like Tonali, when he went down, I found it strange that he was able to then continue, but then I did notice quite quickly that he's just not moving his shoulder or his arm at all. And then when he came off, he was holding it, just keeping it still. The Joe Linton one, as you say, I mean, Bruno immediately like runs over and he's like subbing off. He's going like this, snap, and I'm like, oh my god, like Bruno was like, you're upsetting us here, like what's going on? But okay, right, that was really bad, and yes, you're right. But I want to be positive about Ramsey. Ramsey
great.
came on and looked,
Yeah.
like I was getting funny feelings down there. Like he looked amazing. he looked amazing. Very quick, very like over that 10 to 15 yard period, just gliding across the turf. Like, really, really good forward thinking, very technically good. So, listen, can he replace Joe Linton? Obviously, he can, but in a completely different way because he's not going to be as physical as what Joe Linton's going to give her. I know Howe said after the game it's not good. He said it did not great. I'm guessing we haven't heard anything since. I haven't read anything since about any of it. Am I right in thinking that?
I think he's referring to the Joe Linton one in that instance. I'm sure he says Joe's isn't great. Then he goes on to talk about both, doesn't he?
Said, yeah, we've lost them both, and they both don't look great. But
and that's not even mentioned. Fabian Shaw, completely forgot about Fabian Shaw, who, if we go by the rules of concussion, he misses 10 days, I think. Obviously, there's international break coming up after the Leeds game, I believe it is. So it will just be the one game if that was the case where it is a concussion.
Yeah, he also put on his Instagram story like an hour or so ago just that he's fine. He said, I'm fine. I'm like proud of the lads, but because of protocols, he'll have to miss the game. Now,
what was your thoughts on that, Mike, when it happened there and then? Because he goes down instantly, and you can tell that it's a head injury. And the referee continues.
Yeah, don't get me started on that ref. I think, I think there's probably contentions on the Liverpool side as well. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple of times where he got fouls, and I thought never a foul that and he gave it our way. So I'm not going to complain in the moment. So I know there'll be if any Liverpool fan watches this, I'm not saying that Simon Hooper was totally against us and for you. But there was well, there was definitely a few challenges or a few moments that were beggars belief. And that one, obviously, it baffles my brain when obviously Delano knows that Alisson's going stop. He was literally putting his hands up and going stop the game because Cher he must have took a right knock to have a concussion. But Simon was playing on. The linesman must be in his ear saying head injury box, and he's just playing on. We get the ball. Right, let's stop this now. Like, I think we went to take to go out for a throw, and we went to take a quick throw in or something, and he was like, "Stop now! Now Liverpool don't have the ball." Look, I've always said referee must be the hardest job in football. It is shocking, but he didn't cover himself in too much glory last night. But moving on to Fabian Schär, I didn't really see because it was in the opposite end. All I saw was the reaction of Alisson, and that made me concerned. He did at one point run round the corner flag and run back to the dugout, so he probably was okay. But again, these measures are in place to make sure no one gets seriously hurt.
I've never seen Schär run as quick as that. Truthfully, how fast he ran from that goal around the corner. I was like, go on, son.
It's because I think he realised he was getting substituted off. He thought, shit, if I get there quick, I might be able to convince him to not let that happen.
Yeah, that's what I think he was trying, yeah.
And would this be a good time to mention Malik Chow? And to be honest, I think he, just reading his his first touch, I think maybe it was just a bit of a nervy one because it was
he shit his pants with that first touch.
Ran into trouble. Dan Burn clears up for him, but then from then he did some very classy touches, some really good passing.
That Cruyff turn that he did moments afterwards was lovely.
Was progressive. Got amongst it, got involved. So with Schär being out for the next game, and hopefully it will just be one game. You've already got Sven Botman there, but I think if you're going to go with Botman or Chow, I think we've got ample cover there for the first time in a while. So touch wood, no bad ones at Leeds. So that doesn't concern me. Just to circle back to what Decker was saying, it's the midfield. Now Jacob Ramsey looked great. He looked like a couple of years ago Joe Willock. He just looked like he was taking up that left-hand side space quite a bit sometimes, going from central to outside and just being creative. It's the lack of sort of physical presence I think we're going to miss in Joe Linton. And I think Lewis Miley's a great player, and he's not a small kid either. He's 6'3", 6'4", but a midfield three of Bruno, Ramsey, and Miley. Just it seems very strange. A lot of strange pieces of trying to meld that together and make it work. What Eddie's got up his sleeve, we're not sure, but we'll have to just see what happens. But they're going to be huge misses them, and I'm praying it's not for too long.
Let's do it on a positive.
We can't afford to lose Tonali like for a long time, because we're waxing lyrical about how good he is, and we're expecting Miley to come in. And I love Miley, right? He did well when he came on, but let's be very realistic. He's not Tonali, right? So we're going to miss him.
And the issue is, it's really concerning if it is his shoulder, and if he has popped his shoulder out at some point. We'll just need to look back. It was last season, wasn't it, when Murphy done exactly the same thing? Then he comes. It's the game he returns. It goes again, doesn't it? When he tries to run.
Yeah. He was lucky. I think he was playing again within a couple of weeks, and then he just came off the bench, sprinted, and his arm fell out. And we were just like, Jesus, like that's crazy. So these things are really fragile. But I mean, I tell you one thing, and not to get too sidetracked. I think I will feel a damn sight better come Saturday, if that's the three or not. If Bruno Guimaraes can play anything like he did last night,
he was great. It was fantastic, mate. Like unbelievable.
Probably a couple of years, and he has been a great player. Still one of my favourites. He gets it. He's a player who gets what it means to play for Newcastle United. But he was the star man last night, and
you got man of the match, didn't he?
A proper captain's performance as well. He was just constantly just trying to keep the players' heads up and keep going. But he just showed his class as well. And he had a little bit of his dark art sprinkled in there as well.
Yeah, he was so upset full time. He was so upset.
He's good. Absolutely good. Yeah, he was good. I think he felt just like everybody else did. But let's look at a bit of a positive. So we did get the equaliser to make it 2-2, and it was your mate, Big Will Asula, Digger, that gets on the score sheet. Takes it really well. Alisson comes out and he takes it really well, puts it past him. And the noise, I know I mentioned it a couple of times, but if St. James's Park had a roof, it would be in the Tyne right now, because the scenes when we made it 2-2, there was people in headlocks, life threatening, and that wasn't just by Adam trying to put people in headlocks. It was mental. It was like just looking around you, and everybody was exactly the same. Like it felt a massive sense of relief, but celebration at the same time. Thinking we've done it. We've managed to get back into this point, and we will literally end the game now and be chuffed as fuck. Like, just happy with this, happy with the lads that they managed to drag themselves back into it after being 2-0 down with 10 men for the majority of this game, really. And you're so happy, Decker, in that moment. And what did it feel like where you were in the ground? I would imagine exactly the same.
It was insane, insane. Like, there was people headlocking us from someone that to the left of us didn't know he was. Then there was 5 of them just hugging. I didn't know 3 of them. And it was just absolutely amazing. The excitement, the adrenaline, the buzz. I was so chuffed he scored, because I just think people write him off very easily. And I was really pleased he got more time, if I'm being truthful, because I think in the Villa game I was really annoyed Eddie Howe for not bringing him on earlier and getting rid of Barnes. And he brought him on, and it was one of them. It was a long ball. It was just a Pope. I mean, goodness me, his kicking's horrific, but he managed to loft that one forward. Burn gets something on it, and Asula just happens to poke it home. Like,
well, apparently didn't get anything on it because
no goes over and it hits off the back of
the assist, the Premier League.
Sorry, I thought Burn had just again. I haven't seen it back. I will say that.
Defender, definitely, but I was looking at my fantasy team and I was like, oh, a few little extra points.
Okay. Did they actually give it a pub? Because where I'm looking at the stats now, it is Will Asula, no assist.
Well, for FPL, maybe they're just trying to be nice to give people points.
Be nice, yeah. I think it hit off the Liverpool defender. Didn't it hit off his back? I think it was. Yeah. Then rolled across to Asula. And he done really well, Dagger. Really well.
It was a good finish, yeah. Like, he anticipated it well. He managed to just have that little bit extra speed than their defender and poked it home, which was like a. Do you know what? It's a funny one because in the first half, I felt like Alanga, not to go massively back here, but I thought Alanga did some great work out wide, put some great balls in, but you could just tell Gordon's just not. It's just not that his role, is it? He's there and he's thereabouts. He's just not able to do it. Whereas I feel Asula was that, and he's not the answer. Listen, I'm not sitting here telling you that he is the answer, but that finish, that sort of run off the ball, was a classic striker goal. It was exactly what he just able to sniff it out in that moment. And you're right. I mean, jubilation, everyone's loving it. We're back in the game. Even being greedy, going, God, we might win this because we were on top. We were the better team.
It felt like that. Yeah.
two things on Osler before we take this positive spin and smash it into the
Dump
ground.
that in the Tyne as well.
Relive the absolute pits that was the end of that game. Two things on Osler. I loved the fact that when he scored, he went straight to get the ball. We know what he's like. He's a character. I thought he would have spent 5 minutes doing his little dance in the corner.
He was giving it to John Cena, like, I don't know if you noticed that.
After the ball got,
yeah.
But I'm saying it was awesome the fact that he's a kid, he doesn't score many goals, doesn't get many opportunities. He only scored one of the Premier League goals. To do that, the noise, and it would be like, no, let's go. And we did have chances, still not chances, but half openings, corners. But one thing I will say is, again, just to sort of reinstate what Decker was saying, like, yeah, he's not the answer. We all get it. We need strikers. I totally get it. But I have felt a little sorry for him because people talk about him like he's literally not there. I've heard like journalists, fan accounts say we don't have any strikers. Well, we do. I know he's not great, but we do. We have one striker. We have an actual centre forward, and for him to come on and score a goal, and now we'll have no choice but to play him in at least one game. I think we don't think we'll get a striker in before next Saturday, and even if we do, you know what Eddie Howe's like.
Well, I've got a question about this, which I'll bring up when we're finished, Matty, because I kind of disagree.
All right, sorry, soz, Chris. But I hope he gets an opportunity at Leeds. It'd just be interesting to see him start a Premier League game. I don't know if he has started a Premier League game for Newcastle yet. I might be wrong, someone might prove me wrong.
That's what annoys us. Can I just say before I move on is when I speak to people that go, "Oh, he's never doing it. He's never going to make it. He's had opportunities. He hasn't even started a Premier League game." So I'm sorry, like, you can't just write him off that quickly. It's just unfair. It's just unfair.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens with him. Again, we know there was a couple of times I think the ball got trapped under his feet, but there is something entertaining about the ball landing at someone's feet and you're literally going, roll a dice, you don't know what's going to happen here.
Well, I like that type of player. So
we've seen him skin himself. We've seen him pass it out the pitch. We've seen him drop it under his feet. But we've also seen him put it in the back of the net a couple of times. And I know that goal was against Bromley, but he proved that he's got a little bit in him. That goal, I still think about that goal to this day. That was awesome. But sorry, I'll move on from the Will Osceola love.
So we'll see a grand total of 11 minutes added on, and once again, people around me are going, 11 minutes. Where did you get 11 minutes from? I was like, well, Fabian was down for a fair chunk of that. Joe Linton's been down for a chunk. Liverpool have been wasting time a fair bit throughout this one. I was like, 11 minutes is probably about right. I was expecting it to be around about the 10-minute mark. So I wasn't shocked at that amount of time being added on. It just, but when I did see it, I thought this is like Anfield all over again, because it was Fabian that went down with an injury at that point as well, wasn't it? A head injury where we had loads of added time added on at Anfield. Then Liverpool scored a late winner then as well. And I just thought I would have paid money just for the game to be ended just at that moment. They're just hitting the 90 minutes and we're just ended, because they'll have a couple of chances afterwards, Liverpool, a couple of chances to get themselves in decent areas afterwards. And the one that they do score from Decker, you could just see we had put so much effort into that game that we were running in mud at that point. And you could just see big pockets of empty space opening up, and Liverpool's were just running into those pockets. And what I want to mention, I'm not having a go at this point, but when you're looking at the goal back, it looks like it's a Langer that doesn't track back at this point and try and fill in a position, because I think it's Chow that gets brought in to run for the player and then just uses that huge space. And I think there's a screenshot and a Langer just stood in no man's land, and you're thinking, shit, like, I'm maybe being harsh at that point because, like I said, there's had been a lot of effort put in. But it's a young lad that comes in and what a finish. What's a nice little... We can't just completely forget about Zoboslai's dummy. Like that's what gets the goal for them. Like, as soon as he does that, then what a finish, Decker.
Yeah, there's two things I think get the goal. I think the they put bodies in the box. Like Zoboslai's, he's in the box as well. And they're just outnumbered in that split second. As you mentioned, Chow has to step up. Then Tino has to move from right back to then try and get him. And next thing you know, we're out in the mud at the back post. And the step over is fantastic. And I mean, that kid's 16-year-old, he doesn't even take a touch, man. Like, I'm sorry, like, I'd be taking a touch there. Like, for him to hit it first time is incredible. It's an absolutely incredible finish. And it's a real sucker punch. I think the scenes at the end when you see them all running on the pitch, like, they know how tough the game's been, you know, and you've kind of, as awful as to see, you the champions and for a reason, I guess, and that they never know when they're beaten or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, because other teams might have just said, we'll just hit a 2-2 here and get home type of thing. But they didn't, and they've pushed people forward. And I felt it was coming, mind you, like, because I was at level 7, by the way, so it's almost like a chessboard, if you know what I mean. And I just thought, bloody hell, like, we're massively outnumbered here, like. And it was a great finish. Or nothing. I didn't think anything Pope could do, even though I've seen a lot of criticism online about Pope. I've actually seen a goal. The picture of the goal with Pope in it, it's like coloured in red, the side that he leaves open, and the purple, the side where he's actually on that side. And it does make it look like there's hardly any gap for that ball to go in, but it still does. I think it's incredibly harsh. There's nothing he can do about that. The guy's about, what, 9 yards out or whatever? Like, it's a great finish, you know.
With finesse.
It's
well,
so
like,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing finish. Amazing. No taking away from the kid. Unbelievable. Must have been an amazing moment for him. He also looked a decent player. It's just a sucker punch because it happens to us. It seems to happen a lot, doesn't it, against Liverpool for us historically, that us, Liverpool, in at a time don't get on very well.
Yeah. Which is why the cup final was such an amazing time when we ran the clock down. Let's just live in that moment for a little bit, for a second, before I start.
I think what I was mentioned there, Matty, it's quite telling that the way that Liverpool did celebrate that, and there's probably 2 reasons that celebrated it. Probably because there's a young lad that scored it, and it was great for him to get his Premier League goal. But also, like Decker mentioned, how tough that game was for them as well. They've had to fight to get 3 points, and it's probably a massive sense of relief from their side of things as well, because there's at no point that they deserve to walk away with 3 points. I'll be very like, do you know what it is? I'm seeing it through great teeth as well. I don't think they deserve to leave St. James's Park with anything. I thought we were the better team, especially going down to 10 men. Those 10 warriors, I'm going to say, that were left on that field that managed to grind that game out for as long as they possibly could, should have been leading with all 3 points in my eyes.
Well, the intent, if it was going on effort, but unfortunately it just doesn't. I think you put that squad again. I said at the start of the show that squad they've assembled is full of talent from back to front. And you know, when they start clicking, because for me Liverpool haven't clicked yet, they'll absolutely run teams over. To talk about their celebrations, I am not one of these celebration police people. I heard it on when I was coming out of the ground. I think a lot of it will be coming from just like being so gutted and deflated. You just want to throw punches at anything, and people they're going on like they've won the league, when they've conceded 2 goals against 10 men. And yeah, they did, and they didn't play well, and they probably didn't deserve. They didn't deserve 3 points, but they've got the 3 points, and that's normally the sort of trait of champions, to be too stereotypical. But I will not begrudge a team scoring a last-minute winner, 110th minute winner, and the bench empty and everyone going wild. Doesn't matter who you're playing against. I don't like the celebration police culture of like, oh yeah, just because it's this, you're not allowed to celebrate. We'd be doing the same thing. And yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, just to echo what we've all been saying, it was just so wide. I'm literally keep seeing in my mind's eye us having a corner, I think, on like 99 minutes. And being like, we're so close. We are so close here. And even thinking, could we snatch it? And like you said, just these pockets just kept opening up everywhere. And they seem to have a bit in the tank because they weren't the ones running around, pressing the ball. They've sort of conserved their energy a little bit. They've made some good changes as well.
I want to reference what Carragher said. I don't know if you've seen the quote that he said.
Yeah, about the
worst performance ever to win a Premier League game and the best performance to not win one.
Yeah, which is great.
And I think you can't really say it any fairer than that, can you?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, whatever. This isn't me. I'm not here to slag Liverpool off. I want to really just sort of echo what you said, Chris. And just there was that sense of pride and like the applause. As soon as they put the ball in the back of the net, after the ground stood up, not to leave, but to just clap and just be like, "He's being class." And quite a few stayed behind after. But it was just, you try to tell yourself how proud you are and how, you know, this team, they've got so much about them, yet you've fought for 110 minutes. You've had 4 players taken off you for the foreseeable future, and you've got nothing to show for it. And that's just football. I put on my Instagram story, football always find new ways to kick you in the ass, and kick you in the gut, and just, you think you've seen it all, and then that happens. So yeah, gutted, but we try to be positive, and it's just a case of we've got a world-class manager, in my opinion, who can take what we've still got outside of the injuries and put something together to put a good performance in against Leeds.
I think it might be after the game as well, because the Monday Night Football panel was Carragher and Thierry Henry. And I think Jamie Carragher mentions that, I'm sure it was on the post-match one, and he starts talking about Eddie Howe, and he says that Eddie Howe is the most important person at that football club right now. See, all the talk about Alexander Isak. So you forget players. Eddie Howe is the man that's controlling everything, and without him, we would be nowhere near that in this position where we are right now as a football club. And he's correct. It's throughout the summer, it's all been Alexander Isak this, Alexander Isak that. It just takes a moment where you've got to step back and go, like, Eddie Howe has fought his way through this summer and previous summers, and it doesn't look like it affects him to the point where it's ruining his position in regards to getting the best out of players. I think he'll constantly do that for the foreseeable. Like, I'm so happy to have him as our manager. I don't think anybody could have handled these sort of situations the way he does. And even afterwards, he's still coming out and being positive about situations, especially the situation with Isak. Do you think there was at any point, Decker, yesterday, if Isak's watching that game, where he's felt as if he's let everybody down? Because the effort that those lads put in without having him anywhere close by, if that was me, I'm thinking I've let these down.
I would like to think so, yes. I'd like to think so. Now, the character that he's shown and how he is and what he's demonstrated over the last couple of weeks, there's a large part of his things now. He might not care, to be honest. But I would be stunned to echo what you've just kind of said, is that if he's sitting there watching that, he must think, you know what it is, I am letting these guys down. Like, you know what I mean? They're putting in everything that they possibly can, and he has me sitting in the house. I mean, it's just not on, is it? Really, it's not good, is it? You know, and I think we really need it to be addressed. Come what may, we just need it to somehow end in regards to, if you're staying, you're staying, you're going, because I just don't think it's helping anyone. And I think before the kickoff, Craig Hope tweeted about that. Ruben and one of the co-owners / chairman, whatever, or the directors of PIF, have been to Isak's house and have spoken to him yesterday. So to try and maybe map out the future. So maybe that the scenario might be ending hopefully soon, but we'll have to see.
If you're taking any positive from it, Matty, you've mentioned that, yes, it's a horrible situation where the game ended. We leave St. James's Park with 0 points, X amount of injuries, concussions, suspensions, and have nothing to show from it. What positives are you taking from it?
I reiterate what you said, that we've got a fantastic manager, but I think it's absolutely reinforced exactly what Dan Burns said, what Anthony Gordon said, maybe too much by Anthony Gordon's standard, showed that he cared too much. But that there is no divide in the changing room, that they're still absolutely 100% bought into what's going on at Newcastle United, and that determination, that passion, that pride is still there. Doesn't matter what one individual had that banner beforehand. You know, it's not about individuals, you know, it's about everyone, it's about the whole population. And I still feel like the team reflects that. Going into Leeds, it's going to be really tough. Ellen Road's always a tough place to go, but there is still quality and pockets across that entire team. And again, we've got a class manager, and, you know, all the decisions that are being made, I still believe are with Newcastle and the fans with their best intentions at heart. This Isak situation is literally just been the pain of all of our lives this entire summer, and we'll see what happens in this next week. You can see that the owners, there's been them allegations of people saying they don't really care about us anymore, the Saudis. They only care about the Saudi league. That's why they're buying. I've never bought into that. I think they genuinely do really want Newcastle to succeed, but because of, you know, certain things, you know, blockers and things like restrictions, we can't do what they want. But they're going to try their best to just keep progressing us, and we'll see what happens with Isak. I mean, I've read today, they did have them meetings, but some people are hearing noises that it still remains the same. Isak saying he doesn't want to play again. But I genuinely think there's a couple of twists and turns for this to take. But positives wise, the manager's still here. We've still got a great group of players, great mentality. Yeah, I think we're still they're still together. That's the main positive to take away, despite all this shite from one individual.
I echo all of that. I echo that. Perfect.
Yeah. The character for that team is second to none. It really is. Like and like I said at the very start of that, like yes, I've walked away from St. James's Park feeling unbelievably deflated, but I've never been so proud in my life of the lads that are there on the field as well, giving it their all. And you could tell they give it their all as well throughout that one. And like we went in the pub afterwards, and you could tell that everybody was feeling exactly the same. Everybody was just like felt as if they had just took a punch to the gut, like they really had, because they think, shit, like we deserved something from that. We really did. Then obviously we're still thinking about the consequences of what have happened throughout the game as well, and you think, shit.
It's very rare. It's very, very rare that you'll lose a game of football of that magnitude in the last minute and not have an ounce of anger in regards to the performance. I've seen us get humped. I've seen us get beat. And all I've got is anger and frustration. If we didn't do this right, tactically we weren't set up right, blah, 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 blah. He's not trying. He's not doing this. And you're right. Every single week when I met you, when I come and caught you on the corner at the Strawberry, I think we hugged him and went, oh, man. Like it was like we knew that we had give everything we could give. And you can't ask anything more of them. I just hope that, and their heads won't drop because they're not that way inclined. I just hope that on Saturday against Leeds, it's going to be a tough game. But I'm not trying to be awful here when I say this, but I feel like we need 3 points there, like, if I'm being honest, because if we don't, all of a sudden 3 games without a win, it isn't good. So hopefully we can get a win on Saturday. And if the lads play with that spirit, that energy, that work rate, I can't see why we don't get a result, to be honest.
No, I agree. I'm going to end it there, boys. Thanks very much for joining us on this one, because you all would have been so excited to relive that moment from last night as well. I know it's always tough looking back over those sort of results, despite we're being so proud of the lads as well. Thanks everybody who has watched this one. Just like the video, become a subscriber. It costs you nothing to do that. If you do want to give an extra bit back, it is just $2.99 a month to become a member. You get early access to videos, you get extra videos, and you do get access to the Telegram group as well. And in that Telegram group, it is just full of like-minded Newcastle United fans that are all feeling exactly the same as well as what we are right now. Like I said, you get extra videos as well. Like Matty was involved in one last week, where each week as we approach the upcoming fixture, we will be doing a Newcastle United-based quiz about previous games against the opposition, key moments in games, memorable moments as well. Matty, you were the victor last week, and it was you against Andy, but you did take all points. And I'm going to end it there. Thanks, everybody. Watch what you're doing. We will see you next time. Ta-ra.